Hello, this is the 48th lecture of the Semantic SEO course. In this lecture, we will look at the contextual structure that we have created, and we will try to understand how these things are actually aligning together from this column to this column, or to this one, or to this one. So when we look at this area, you will realize that there are some commonalities or similarities, like definition of drinking water, and here definition of the water intoxication. So which means that actually the first word that we will be using in this article will be actually water intoxication, and we will start with a kind of definitional sentence there. Then we will be having this main symptom, main reason, and the main effect. If you look at here too, it will be similar. Main benefit at physically, psychologically, and we go deeper for a certain context. Then nutritional value, and as I know, technically zero, is function for the body, and how many percent of the human body is water. When we look at here too, after symptom, reason, effect, then we go to the water intake calculation method. I believe you remember that it is directly inside these anchor tags and it's directly inside our heading vectors. Then how a person can miscalculate the daily water intake. So is it possible, and what are the common mistakes for doing that? So basically we actually focus on daily water intake, and after what percentage or after what amount it is too much water, because the definition of water intoxication, it is coming from the water amount that you are consuming a day. So these connections are important, because if you are able to hit to the water intake and the water intake calculation in a proper way, you will be able to rank higher for benefits of drinking water, and at the same time how much water should you drink a day section as well, which is this section and helpline ranking there at the moment. So that's why we are trying to take the surrounding context around that specific query, especially. And as I already told, our macro context and our H1 is highly similar to the query in that area too. And main events that can cause water intoxication, and in this area you'd see that these events, sports events and military training. So basically we are creating a kind of connection from the supplementary content to the macro context introduction. Mention the main treatment methodology, it is at the end, and it is at the end. As you realize, we start with the definition of the macro context and the main entity, then we go to the main sections, which means the main attributes or the main samples of these attributes we are giving. Then we go to our in-link or internal link justification, especially with the relevance bridges. Then anything that you see here, it is ordered in our contextual vector already. In the previous lectures, we actually talk about the supplementary content, but also we talk about the order of the terms or the context terms and the context signifiers in our H1, and how we actually distribute these things also inside our contextual structure too. So the order of these things and order of these areas is not a kind of coincidence. They are aligning together with each other. Nothing is random. And as I said before, the general summary, extractive summary, and abstractive summary that we are creating, it is for creating a web page site contextual consolidation, and it is for actually connecting even the last heading to the beginning area. One of the biggest mistakes that SEOs actually do is that they are writing their titles directly for the queries that they are trying to actually rank for, but they don't stick with it for entire web page. Even if they do it so much. And the term saturation, it is a concept that maybe we will explain later, but after a point, it doesn't matter how many times that word appears there. There is a term saturation and length normalization concept in information retrieval. But basically, if you use correct grammar structure, if you always give a unique and valuable information, and if you don't repeat things just for repeating purposes, if you don't write gibberish, basically, all these things will be used also for relevance calculation and the richness of the content in terms of information or information density, which is another concept from one of my case studies. But main context here, or the main take in this area, is that the contextual vector, entire contextual vector, and especially the subcontext sections like H2s, this area, and also this area, these three sections, they will always need to be reflected in this part, and the order of these subcontexts they will need to be reflected directly inside the introduction part as it should be. If we are able to align everything in a proper way, in our macro context, in our general summary, and also in contextual vector, and also inside the paragraphs, lists, and tables, then entire document actually will be highly optimized, and in a way, for all these queries, it will be getting the most possible or the highest possible relevance score. Thank you. In the next lecture, we will continue to examine our article methodology further.